think that when somebody brings some paper with some drawings on it and calls it money, that is all.
Then they believe. One who young couple be a sumno. Na me so me nana no mamre amahu no. Me sumno. Se sada no do na ewu ko na wo tumi ko heaven na man ko bia. Enye problem. But the only person who say it's a time for Africa say ye ni be bi, ye ni be da ho. They who say church is a business maker with no fear. Welcome to JMTVGH. Today I'm here with Sopho Kofi Ahadi. It's been a long time. We came to see our father and bring you a great story about the journey into every history and Africa as a whole. As an African child, as an African children, what we're supposed to do these days, not to go and read what they told us, that's how it is, but what we ourselves, we know that this is who we are. So all the time when we come to Sopho Kofi Ahadi, we try to explain to us how our ancestors migrate from where they live in the ancient time before coming to this land today. So today we are here with him to discuss about the Exodus. So if we say Exodus, and they say people cross the Red Sea or people walk for 40 days, 40 years. So is that true that the people walk 40 years, cross the Red Sea, go to the promised land? All that we have to find out from Sopho Kofi Ahadi. And we will not waste much time. Let me go to Sopho Kofi Ahadi. Then we can ask him, when we say the Red Sea or the Exodus, what is the meaning of the Exodus? Then Sopho Kofi Ahadi can give us more explanation. Togbi.
Ago.
Mi dogbendi.
Nyekwe.
Nyakomato.
Nyebo.
Nyviode.
Nyeli.
Dogbi okada.
Odo.
Ape.
Oh, nyawezo.
Yo. Mr. Nkojiji. Nifo Bohaji.
Ma de Mr. Nkojiji. Nimega Jeshimo, you have become very popular with your programs. You are called everywhere you go.
Yeah.
So you hardly have free time for poor people like we.
Oh, Togbi, don't say that.
We don't have
the
money.
great man in our time. So as for that one there. So Togbi, today we are here. Our people are confused of some things, especially when in the Bible they say the people walk 40 years to the promised land. And today to when you see the distance from the two places where they have migrated from to the place they went to settle as the promised land, I don't think it will be that 40 years they are talking about. So when we say the Exodus, explain to us what is the Exodus. And it's true, is that true that the people walk for 40 years to the promised land?
Now, when I have to say greetings to your cherished viewers, listeners, and whoever is interested to know the truth. Some people are called Christians, and they have fabricated some stories which were brought down to us and pushed into our heads to believe that there was some God sitting somewhere up in the skies, and that God asked some murderer called Moses. They made me realize that he was a murderer because he killed some people and ran away. And then God called this murderer to come and take his people from bondage. So this murderer came and went to the Pharaoh, whose picture one of the Pharaoh whose picture is on the wall there, and went to the Pharaoh. They didn't give the name of the Pharaoh, but of late they are letting us believe that that Pharaoh was Pharaoh Ramses II.
Okay.
Pharaoh Ramses II was the one to whom Moses, the so-called Moses, went.
Okay.
Then that Pharaoh will have to give us the date that the people left him, and how he sent his forces after them, and chasing them through the bed of the Red Sea. The very peaceful and lovely God caused the Red Sea to close on his people.
Yeah.
That would be a very wicked person acting that way. But that aside, the Pharaoh who sent his forces was staying in the delta of the river they call the Nile.
Yeah.
But the river our ancestors who were living there knew as the Divine Snake River.
Okay.
Because when you look at the river from above, you see it flowing. It flows like a snake, it meanders like a snake.
Okay.
So, that was the Snake River. Now, if you are going to Akachi, you cross a river,
Yes.
and that river we know as Tojin, the Red River.
That river came past through my hometown as well.
Okay,
At Betoy.
right.
Call
So,
it Toji.
Tojin,
Yeah.
that is Red River.
Yeah.
So for anybody to say that the Red River, it got its name because it flows from the hills and takes the residue, the clay or the sand residue from the mountains and brings it down and changes the color of the river.
Okay.
Just like we can see with the Pra River, the Galamsey areas, you see that the color of the water bodies have all changed.
Yes.
And when you look at the Pra River entering into the sea, you see that the color is no longer the beautiful color you have, but it becomes like something red or yellowish red.
Yeah.
So they said that was the Red Sea. But then when you start looking at the origin of that water body they call the Red Sea, you will see that from its top where Joseph, when he was sold into slavery,
Okay.
was taken on camel, there was no connection between that water body and what they call the Mediterranean Sea.
Okay. So does that mean where the Joseph was sold,
Yes.
plus where they are saying the people walk for 40 years, is the same area?
The river body, the water body, Joseph, when he was sold, according to your Bible,
Yeah.
he was sold into slavery, into the caravan, camel caravan men
Yes.
who carried him,
Yes.
and they didn't cross any water body.
No.
They
That one
entered
Bible didn't
into
say.
Egypt.
Yeah.
They allegedly entered into Egypt.
Okay.
Now, when Abraham too was coming with Sarah into Egypt,
Bible didn't say
they crossed any river. So, where from the river that these people who were traveling crossed? There is a pamphlet, or I have something which shows that the people who were living there were blacks.
Okay. Where the water is, or where the river is, or where
Where the people
Pharaoh
were
people.
moving from
Okay.
to go to the so-called promised land,
Okay.
they were blacks.
Okay.
If you land in Cairo today, the Cairo airport, and you go to the place called Giza,
Okay.
the Giza Plateau, you will come across the Sphinx, the Dulagba,
Okay. So the Julegba that they call
the Sphinx.
Oh, okay.
Now you have an avenue of sphinxes in Egypt up till today. It is telling you one thing, that the people who lived there had a culture of creating these dulagbas or sphinxes.
Okay.
And what does the sphinx do? The sphinx in our Ewe land, they are protectors of the community.
Yes.
If they are protectors of the community, if the people were living, they would have taken that important aspect of their culture along with them.
Yes.
So where do we have that important aspect of the culture? The sphinxes or the alagbars, you will find it among the black people.
Okay.
And the sphinxes are telling us that, especially the one in Giza,
Okay.
is telling you that it represents a black man. If it represents a black man, it means that the people who built the sphinxes were blacks.
Yes.
They cannot be white or Arabs and give you the presentation of black.
Yeah.
If that were so, then the black people who built the sphinxes, you ask yourself, where have they gone to? They could not have gone to live on a land which is Arab or Zionist or Islamic land.
Yes.
They will have carried their culture and their belief along with them.
Yes.
Now, if they carried along, then we should have evidence of where they have built their alagbars or the sphinxes.
Okay.
And where do we find those ones?
In our home.
In every land.
Yes.
So when you continue looking at that one and you try to understand the Sphinx at Giza has a story, a question it asks.
Okay.
When you are passing by it asks you. If you are able to answer correctly, you can move on.
Really?
If you fail to answer correctly, that is your end.
Wow.
And the question it will ask you is simple. There is something which starts on 4, moving on 4, then develops to 2,
Okay.
and ends up on 3. Tell the Sphinx the answer.
So how can I answer that question?
That you should be capable of answering.
Wow.
You are the one passing by the Sphinx and he's asking you a question. What is it which starts movement on 4, graduates to 2, and returns to 3?
So what is that?
That is the person who is walking, who is being asked the question. Can't you answer?
I don't know the answer, so
You know the answer.
tell us.
It's a simple answer. When you are born as a child, you start crawling on all 4s.
Okay.
When you grow, you move on 2 legs. When you are old, you end up adding 1 leg to your 2.
That's the walking
The walking stick. If you are not able to answer that question, then you are in for a problem.
Means you can't cross.
You can't go.
Wow.
The Dulagba is there to ensure that people who have a very clean heart are the people who can be tolerated.
Okay.
So when you look to your left, you see that there is a weighing scale. They are weighing the heart of the person. And what is the heading? Judging the heart of the righteous. So on the right scale facing you, this one facing you here.
This one?
Yes, the branch of the scale, you see that there is the feather. The feather is here.
Okay.
Now,
This one?
no, look at where the animal is. Yes, behind it.
Yeah.
No, in the scale.
Behind there?
No, you see the scale is here.
Oh, yeah, this one.
Yes, that is the feather.
Oh, okay,
Then the
okay,
opposite one is the heart of the person who is to be judged.
This is the
Heart.
heart. Oh,
And
okay.
this is the feather of the bird.
Oh.
So they are weighing you. If you are a righteous person, you see that the scale is balanced.
Okay. So
The
which one
feather,
is here
the feather is there.
before the heart
is here.
Okay.
The person whose heart is being weighed is the one being led to the scale.
This one.
Yes.
Okay.
So when your heart is clean, you haven't done any evil. And then there are 42 laws.
Okay.
Thou must not kill. Thou must not steal what has been prepared for the gods. Thou must not take somebody's property.
Yes.
They are all 42.
Yes.
So when you pass, if the heart weighs more than the feather, then you have failed. Then you didn't do any good during your life.
No.
But
means if the heart is
heavier than the feather,
means you are not.
You are not correct.
Wow.
Say all the things that we are told not to do. If you do them,
the heart will be heavy.
It will be heavy. But if you have led a righteous life, your heart will weigh lighter than the feather. If it weighs lighter than the feather, then you have passed.
Okay.
Then they will lead you to the King of Kings.
Okay, this is the King of Kings.
King sitting there.
So this one.
Yes,
now he has reached the point of getting to
the King of Kings. He has done right. Then they will accept him as a righteous person.
Okay.
They can send him back to come and teach other people how to do good.
So don't you think this is the same thing they are portrayed to us as heaven and hell, that they will judge us according to what we have done?
But that is the judgment chamber. You see the judges sitting up there.
The up one?
Yes. So when you have been weighed and you see the guy is writing, he's holding, before you pass, the guy is standing there by the scale. Yes.
Yeah, he's writing.
He will write
what
you have achieved. If you are okay, so you are given the right to move on. But if you are not okay, you see the animal there in the middle. The one just there. Yes. So when you have been found not to be just, the animal will eat your heart.
Yeah. Means the heart will not work again.
Yes, so you are an evil person.
Okay.
So go back.
Okay.
Go and complete your assignment.
Okay.
If your heart is clean, then you continue to the King of Kings.
Okay, so Sopho, let me understand this. This whole thing, are we talking about this physical here that our ancestors do this, or when you die before all these things will happen?
That is the judgment scene. You are truthful, so you are asked to go back and teach people what is righteous.
Okay, so that's the reason why we have the reincarnation.
The judgment scene.
So the person is not right.
He is not right.
He or she need to
he
come
will
back
be sent back
to continue
do what is right.
Okay.
If you are right, you are just and fine. They will receive you, but you will join the upper class of humanity. You will teach people to know that doing good is good.
Okay.
Doing bad is evil.
Okay.
So they gave you the 42 confessions.
Okay.
So you have to say the confessions before you reach the King of Kings.
Okay.
If you have done good, you go to the King of Kings. The King of Kings says, okay, my son, you are welcome.
Okay.
Go and join the people who will judge.
Okay.
Then they tell you they will judge the quick and the dead. Those who have done good, you will come and continue doing your good.
Okay.
Those who have done evil, you will receive your punishment.
Okay.
That is the clear
punishment in which way?
You will come back. Either you will come as an animal, or you come as a human being, but you will suffer, you will become a slave, you will become what have you. You will not be correct again. You might be a madman
or something
based on things you have done.
Okay.
So you see some people will be going around, you don't understand what has happened to them.
Okay.
You will think that, oh, you are better than them. But when you also do the same wrong things, you will also suffer the same.
So can't we say then this one, the Christian will have a point that yes, it's true that there's a judgment day, they will judge us, the suffering people will go to hell and the righteous will go to heaven.
But where did the Christians have that concept from? The Christians and our ancestors, who came first?
Our ancestors.
Yes, our ancestors were there and they have set up the rules. And the rules are to be obeyed. They said, don't do this. It's finished.
Yeah.
So that's why the Christians say, as for the traditionalists, when you do evil, you are not forgiven. Because the traditionalist says that thou must not kill. It's finished.
Yeah.
If you do wrong, you will be punished.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, as for traditional religion, there is so much wickedness.
Okay.
There is no wickedness. When you have been told don't do it, it means don't do it.
Yeah.
Right?
I get it, yeah.
So, when they came, you will see that it was the Greeks who introduced their people to come and study what our ancestors were doing. And they came, they didn't understand what our ancestors were doing.
Okay.
So they have to turn the whole story about. And they created their own story. And they realized that their story is not correct, is not going according to the rules of life.
Yeah.
If it's not going according to the rules of life, then they are in a terrible situation. That's why they had to forge and forge and forge and forge. They have forged and realized that their stories after all are not true.
Okay, so let's assume that when they came to spread everything, did they experience anything about crossing that ratio or walking for a distance of 40 years? Did they experience anything like that before creating it for us?
No. You see that when you want to confuse people, you must create some scenario or some stage where those people, you will deceive them to forget about things that they have and follow what you have. So when the Greeks came, they commissioned people to write things for them. If you read some of their writings, they claim that those who were transcribing what have been written down, at that time they didn't even understand what was written down. So they must forge it.
Yeah.
They must create their own stories. And they created their stories. So today, every now and then you see that a new story is coming out from the Bible.
Yeah.
Then Pope Francis, the current Catholic Pope, says that the Bible is not correct. When the Bible says that in our Lord's Prayer, the Bible is telling you that the Lord said, lead me not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. That is the Lord who created you in His own image and likeness.
Yeah.
How can He lead you into temptation?
Yeah.
Having led you into temptation, then He comes to take you from evil. Then He sends His only Son to come and die for you. How can that be? If He had led you into temptation and He has created the evil, then He sends somebody to come and die for you. Then you ask yourself, does that person dying for me know me? So you have it up there, know the truth, that nobody died for your sins. Because the person does not know you. You too, you don't know the person. You don't know what sin you have committed.